Mr. Brian Coyle. We all will know him from behind the scenes at all the shows, as the cut man, a part of Inside Out Care. He decided to do the Alpha Project, which is going to be taking place this weekend at Chaos, the longest running Irish promotion.
The longest active MMA promotion in Ireland.
Okay, he corrected me. So,
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. I know it's fight week. There's a lot going on. How are you? And how have you found the Alpha Project? And what actually led you to pursue it?
You know what? It was kind of me and my big mouth. Anybody who talks to me backstage knows I like to talk and slabber a lot. So we've done many programs like this. We've done, the Clan Wars does their own program, Fit to Fight done their own program, SBG does their own kind of almost white collar program. There was never anything around the Northwest that was accessible for me. I always wanted to fight. I mean, I've been around MMA and Ireland for 16 years. I thought about fighting when I was younger, but I just didn't feel I was skilled or athletic enough. Then the crazy mind of Jerry Poltark decided to run this Alpha Project, and after the success of the first one, I thought I would actually like to try it and do it. Everything aligned. The fact that it was Chaos, which is a show that means so much to me. I took the plunge and thought it's now or never. I'm 42 years old. I'm not getting any younger, so this could probably be my last chance to do it.
And fair play to you, because like that, a lot of people will always think about and talk about it, and they won't go through with it. When you look back on now, obviously you haven't had a huge amount of time. What is it, 12 weeks, is it?
12 weeks, yeah.
If you could go back to yourself in that younger time, when you thought you weren't fit or athletic enough, would you tell yourself to do it, that there could have been plenty of time to obviously to get skilled and athletic to do it?
I was 25, 26 then. I just become a father, was preparing to get married. Just life kind of got in the way. I didn't think I could commit to even training, and the training wasn't as accessible back then as it is now. There wasn't multiple MMA gyms. Evolve may have been the only thing close to me where I could have trained with ironically enough is where I'm training for this fight. You would have had to go to the godfathers of MMA in the north, which would have been Davy Patterson, Rodney Moore, or up and around Belfast. And it just, logistically, it wasn't for me. Strabane had their own fight team, which is kind of was through. That's how my introduction to MMA come about. A few guys were fighting on Chaos, and I was dragged along against my will and fell in love with the sport. So, logistically, I was undisciplined, I was unfit, I just wasn't motivated back then. I just had this kind of romantic idea of being a fighter. Maybe it's for the best that I didn't do it back then.
But like that, you said everything that you've done, now that you've done the 12 weeks and you've done the program, talk to us about, obviously you've been around fighters and stuff, so walking into an MMA gym for the first time wouldn't have been daunting to you because you've been around these people, these people, you know what to expect when you go to a gym. How did you find the training? How did you find your progress? What did you like? What did you find you done well? And what were the things that you thought you didn't find, so not that you didn't like, but Joe, you didn't do so well, let's say?
It's amazing how unconditioned you be for fighting. The conditioning needed to fight. I thought in my head it was just we'll train 3 mornings a week. That'll get me conditioned to fight as well as teach me how to fight. Now you have to realize, going into this Alpha Project, like me and a lot of the other guys doing it, we had never fought before. A lot of us had never trained any discipline. I'd never threw a punch before. So as well as training for 12 weeks to get conditioned to fight, I also had to learn how to fight, which was a little bit daunting. It's crazy, the first time you ever spar, you don't know how hard do you go or what to do. You're kind of drowning. You're learning as you go, and you're just finding what suits you and what fits you. I loved every aspect of it. Obviously I work as a massage therapist too, so I was very conscious of hurting my hands, and the fact that I work on cuts where we wrap hands too. So I had all these little things going through my head. The only thing I will say MMA in Ireland, it's a community, it's a brotherhood. When I signed up to do this fight and I announced that I was going to do this fight, I had a lot of support from the MMA community in Ireland. Guys were messaging me about coming up to train and trying to learn, even things like just advice. It's crazy, because I would talk a lot when I'm wrapping guys' hands, but this last few weeks, it's been young, like 19, 20 year olds that are giving me advice about fighting. And it's the whole experience has been brilliant, and it really has made me appreciate the sport a whole lot more. I mean, I have so much respect for anybody who gets in a ring or a cage, but I have even more respect now after this 12 weeks. I've learned so much about myself. It's been physically draining, mentally draining, emotionally draining. And now it just feels like Christmas week, like you're just waiting for this fight. I can't wait to get in there.
And that's good because like I would still obviously after you've done all that training, the cherry on top is to have the fight and obviously win the fight. But I
Yeah.
was some people when they get to that stage might not want to fight. Was there like is there an option with the Alpha Project to just do the training and not fight? I know that doesn't apply to
Oh,
you, but for people
yes.
who may want to take part in it next year.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whenever we signed up at the start, then we were asked, did we want to fight or did we just want to participate in the training? The training has been unreal. It's been unreal. So, it's three mornings a week. We do one morning with Jason, your striking coach, and then we do 2 mornings with Jacob, the grappling coach. Um, so I've been fortunate enough that I've done a lot more training than that. I've been putting on a lot of work. I've been traveling for my work too. I'm just back from Uzbekistan last week. Um, I've lost 12 kilos in 12 weeks.
Wow.
So like even for that aspect alone, it's well worth it.
And how do you feel after losing the 12 kilos? Obviously, I don't know whether would want to compete again after this, but is this the type of training you're going to keep up to keep off the weight? How do you feel with the weight loss? Were you expecting to lose that much?
Yeah, I kind of was expecting to lose that much because I originally I thought my fight was going to be at 70 kilos, 73 kilos. uh Me being like most men thought I'm sitting around 75, 76, not too bad, and when I actually weighed myself I was 84.
Wow.
So um that has been, no, it's just been a complete lifestyle change, diet, exercise, conditioning, um no alcohol. You know how much I love my having a drink, so it's been no alcohol. It's Yeah, so I actually I'm taking this really seriously. I'm training. I was kind of explaining to somebody, I feel like I'm training for like a UFC fight. I've took it that seriously in terms of the training. um just to get myself ready. My big thing, and I'm fighting a guy, I'm fighting Kevin from Limavady, who's 43, who's the same age as me. And I think we're probably, I will safely say we're both in the same mindset. We just don't want to go in there and embarrass ourselves. We're the older guys in there. Um, and just no, I think if we can both come out the other side 6 minutes later, not hurt, not seriously hurt, with a smile on our face, it'll be worth it. But no, I won't be. The next time you see me in a cage after Saturday will just be the clean blood. Um, I maybe might stick at the jiu-jitsu. I like that. I like the idea of not being punched in the face.
And then yeah, there is loads of jiu-jitsu competitions. And then if you kept that training up, obviously that'd be great to keep the weight off. Like you said, the lifestyle, like what has that brought aspects into your personal life then, whether it be discipline, humbleness, like have you been able to translate any of the benefits of training over to your personal life?
Yeah, do you know what? I would procrastinate a lot. I would put things off, but now with this training and the newfound energy and desire, I'm find myself trying to do things now rather than put them off. This training hasn't just affected me. I mean, my wife and my 2 kids, like they've been involved as well. My wife's the unsung hero. She's looked after the diet. She's cooked. She's prepped the meals. She's um done everything for me. From coming back from training, and she has a bath ready for me. She's been amazing, and I'm sure she will be as glad to see the back of this training camp as I will. I'm just looking forward to a beer and a big Chinese.
So on obviously I'm gonna be there on Saturday night with you. Will I be joining you for a beer and a Chinese after the fight?
Well, hopefully by the time you're joining with me, I will probably be upside down. So yeah, you're more than welcome for the beer and the Chinese.
Fans for your exclusive footage. But you talked about chaos and what it meant to you and the
Yeah,
history that you have with it. You talked about a couple of guys dragged you against your kind of, you didn't really want to go and then you fell in love with it. Like, how
yeah.
long ago did you say that was? And you,
So that was 2008. That was Chaos number three. It was in the Everglades in Derry. My older brother who has fought, and hopefully well, I'm planning that he's going to walk me out to the cage because he was so instrumental in get me into bringing me into MMA. He mentioned about going to this show, and I agreed, thinking that I could get away out of it. It crept up on me. I couldn't get away out of it. We went to Chaos in the Everglades. Now, this was even before cages. It was in a ring back then. Um, and I fell in love with the sport. So my first introduction to MMA wasn't the UFC; it was Chaos Fighting Championships. Was just mesmerized. I was expecting it to be like, a bloodthirsty crowd baying for blood, and it was, but they just made you feel so welcome. I remember more the atmosphere than the fights. And just that was it. I was hooked. I couldn't get enough of MMA, and for every time after it, I'd have went to the EFR shows up in the Elk, the UXC shows, just whatever shows I could get there, I was going to watch. Knew nothing about fighting and just become obsessed with the sport to the point where, I had talked about, told you I wanted to fight, and then I wanted to try and find some way I could get in and work in the MMA world. And then 8 years ago, I become a cut man. So that has kept me involved, and I have far more interest in the amateur MMA scene in Ireland than I have in the pro scene worldwide. I love it.
you actually answered my next question was because of that. Is that why you ended up being a cut man? Because you
Yeah,
decided you weren't going to fight? But onto your point there as well about the amateur scene, I'm actually the same. A lot of people have said to me, why don't you do your Bellators or Cage Warriors or this, that, the other? I've applied for credentials for them. I've got credentials for them. I just
yeah,
don't want to go and ask the same questions. And this is no disrespect to the people that are there because they've been there and they've done that. Ask the
yeah,
same, because I'm going to be last in the queue. I'm going to be
yeah,
asking the same questions everyone else asks. And I just think the coverage needs to be more on the guys that are coming up through and getting them ready for pro as well. It's not a sort of way. So I love the amateur scene here. And what you make
yeah.
of the scene at the minute yourself, I think
No,
it's
We
improvement.
we are about to produce. There's a few guys that have just turned pro there recently. We're producing some killers at the minute. This is probably the best era of MMA in terms of skill set that I've seen in my time. We've guys that just turned pro, guys like Connor McCarthy, Kieran Brady, that are just about to push into the big scene. There's a few of them in Cage Warriors at the minute. Ian Gary's about to have a number one title shot or number one contender in the UFC next month. I was there when he made his amateur debut. It's Shauna Bannon. I remember her coming up through. It's been amazing. It's actually nice now to sit and watch these guys achieving the success whenever you knew them in the amateur scene. Like I remember Keelan Loughran was just collecting belts everywhere. Um, in the amateur scene, and it's great now. No, there's a few guys flying under the radar, maybe that don't have the loud personality or the social media presence. Georgie Grosa from Paddy Houlihan's gym, what an absolute warrior. What a killer. And he's so relaxed and he's so happy. And he's one of the guys I actually love to watch. I really, really love that grappling style, that wrestling style. Paul Buckley's another guy that I've kind of preached about for a long, long time, has been one to watch. So yeah, it's great. And in terms of the amateurs coming through at the minute, what a group of amateurs we've got coming at the minute. There's guys like Damien McGuigan, who's about to make his pro debut. Jack Nye, guys like that killing it on the scene. Fufu Faraz, who's just got a bronze medal there. Amy Scully, who's just become world champion in Uzbekistan. What a time to be an Irish MMA fan.
Yeah, it is. And like that, we could sit here for an hour and list off all the different names. Do you know,
Yeah,
so there's so many good talents. And Georgie, someone I actually want to come back to for a second. I
yeah,
just love his progression because his wrestling style, but you can see as time went on, the wrestling, the chain wrestling, and then he was able to turn it into submissions and he just seems unstoppable.
yeah,
But like you said, because he's quiet and he doesn't have that loud, brash personality, he flies under the radar. He's someone
Yeah.
I like to give his flowers to because he deserves it.
Yeah.
And it is such a time for Irish MMA. Like you said, Conor McCarthy's, TKO's, Gary Rooney's, everybody just kind of exploding up at the minute. But this weekend it's just about you. Like, how are you finding the weight cut? Like, is it close enough to your weight that you're not having to do a massive one? Because for me, that doesn't look like something that's fun to do.
No, I won't have to do a cut at all. I'm on weight now, so it's just a bit of discipline, a bit of composure. What the hardest bit about this week so far is not doing the training, because obviously I'm not going to be training as hard this week. It's just been a big part of my life for the last 12 weeks that I'm finding that bit kind of hard to get around. So like I've been coming home early, I've been lying about the house, I've been just relaxing. Obviously I'm still doing a bit of moving about and still doing some cardio stuff just to keep the blood pumping and the muscles moving. But that not getting in and getting mauled by Jacob Leonard and Gareth Vaughan has been a bit of a bonus this week.
I can imagine, and I actually find that quite interesting. You've gone full pelt for like 11 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever it is, and then there's a stop. Like, obviously, if
Yeah,
you were a fighter, you'd be able to manage that. You've obviously found that quite, I don't want to say unsettling, but kind of like, what do we do here now? And then
yeah,
trying to watch especially when you've got that much free time. I'd say the diet then is a little bit harder to try and manage when you're around the house more. You're not training as much. Do
yeah.
you find what are the kind of things at the minute that are kind of for you that you're trying to stay disciplined from? Is it the likes of the diet and stuff like that?
It's yeah, it's the snacking and treats and things like that I'm trying to stay away from. Um, I've got two young boys and they like to, you know, come in and they're eating biscuits or whatever they have in their hands, they always seem to be eating. So like I find that kind of hard, but it's only 1 week. It's only a week left. It's only a few days now. It's not that much.
And the anticipation for obviously the fight coming up. You said obviously you're waiting for it. What do you think? Like, one of the things that I think people struggle with is out the back, the kind of waiting around stuff like
Yeah.
that. The anxious, but because you've been around the backstage areas, you probably can people yourself wrapping their hands, having the
Yeah.
chats with them. Do you think you're going to have any issues around the back waiting, the anticipation
Uh,
ready to go out, or do you think you're
no,
going to
no,
take
because
time for
the guys will be there anyway, Jess and the team. And you know what I'll probably do is I'll probably hop in and wrap a few sets of hands and just keep my mind occupied. There's going to be something for me to do back there. I'm kind of not that worried about that. It's just the whole. I don't think it has really hit me yet. I've maybe about 2 weeks ago I was completely petrified. I was going praying. No, this sounds bad. I was praying for a knee injury or an ankle injury or something just to get me out of it. Now I've kind of settled, and I've gotten like nervous excitement now. So that'll probably it's because I've never done it before. I don't know how I'm going to react. When it comes down there and I see the cage for the first time, and the music, your walkout music, and your team's all there, and that's going to be that's going to be something different for me.
Yeah, no, it will be. It'll be a once in a lifetime experience, unless you do it again, and then it's going to be twice in a lifetime. And
No, no, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again.
no, that's fair enough. But at least you've got like you said, what are the biggest takeaways from it? Like, because you've said the appreciation you have for fighters a lot more, because a lot of people, and I hate this, you hate this as well. You see people, oh, you should do this, do this. I went to do
Yeah,
a white collar boxing recently, which I ended up quitting, right? So
yeah,
even just to stand correctly, I found hard. And I was like, if anyone says to me they should do this and do this and they don't train, I'm gonna tell
yeah,
them F like straight off.
yeah. It's one of my biggest peeves I have, and some of the I would say not just MMA journalism, but soccer or rugby or whatever sport you're into. I mean, everybody has access to like TikToks and Instagrams and things, YouTubes and all now. I I don't mind people being constructive. I hate people criticizing a fighter when they've never done it before, or criticizing a player when they've never played before. I know, um, because this is one of the talks that I had had with Dennis Perry. Dennis was on about doing a podcast one time, and I was going, I couldn't comment on a fighter when I've never fought before. So Yeah, just I don't, and these guys, this is why the Alpha Project is so perfect. See those guys sitting in the bar saying this and saying that, and they should have done this, they shouldn't have done that. Do you know what? Sign up, pull on a pair of gloves and a pair of shin pads, get in there and see how you feel. It's the greatest experience I've ever had. It's so rewarding. I've loved every minute of it and hated every minute of it at the same time. It's life changing.
Yeah, I think a podcast for you and Dennis Perry would actually be quite good, and I think people can comment on it. But like you said, if it's constructive, like the likes of Andy
Yeah.
Stevenson and people like that, I find very professional in the way they articulate how fights
Yeah.
go down.
Yes.
It's more the people like we were talking about. Oh, they should just do this. Oh, they're shite. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walk a mile in their
Yeah.
shoes. You do a day in their shoes. A lot of the guys wouldn't be able to handle it. So those casual fans.
Yeah, the like I love listening to the All Triangle, Andy Quilcha, Ian O'Neill. Brilliant. You will never hear them putting a fighter down. Oh, he quit in there or whatever. They do it so kind of respectfully. And like those guys for me are the guys that I really enjoy listening to. In terms of in the MMA world, it's more the kind of the guy with the TikTok, with a big beer gut and scraggly hair that's criticizing John Jones and boys like that. That's the boys that I can't stand.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like that MMA guru guy, I cannot stand.
Oh no, no,
He
no.
is vermin. But anyways, we'll get away from that. It's gonna be this weekend. Like you said, it's close enough to home for you, Derry.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would presume you got a good few people coming. What's it gonna like to have your family and the supporters there? Does that motivate you more? Do you feel it's gonna put more pressure on you?
Do you know what? It's my wife is a nervous wreck. She thought the only person who would be punching me in the face would be her. But my kids will be there. My twin brother, you can meet my twin brother.
That would be
I might
nice.
send I might send him into the cage. Yeah, so it's gonna be good. And like, there's like I've been training and like doing training in SBG Strabane martial arts, and they've got fighters on this, so there's going to be a big contingent from Strabane. For me to make an MMA debut, it sounds bonkers to even say this, but I couldn't have asked for a more perfect night. I'm going to be there with the guys from Inside Out Care, so I'm going to have Jess there in the corner, probably shouting and screaming. Probably might have to gag her. The guys that I've traveled around with and on the scene for the last 8 years with, Paul Brown will be there, Dick Larkin will be there, Gar Lyons. The only kind of thing that hasn't happened that I would have loved to have happened is I would have loved to have had Phil commentate on it for me, but he's in Austria, I think, with Brave. So like everything has just, all the stars have aligned. It's chaos. It's a novice fight. We're on the same skill level. It's in the Millennium Forum. It's where, like, Conor McGregor once fought, where I watched Conor McGregor fight, where I watched Paddy Holohan fight. Um, and now to be there, to have a walkout, to have my family there, hopefully be walked out by my brother. Um, just everything's just perfect. And you know what? The result of the fight doesn't even matter. I'm not going in there going, I have to win. I'm going to smash this guy. I think if we both can get through it, if we both can come out unscathed, and then go and have a beer after together, that would just make it absolutely perfect.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the way you described that, everything kind of aligning at once,
Yeah.
between chaos being the first love, all the people you've been around with for years, especially like Jess in your corner, and all the people involved. I got to let you go. I want to thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure that me and you have. We talk a lot out the back. I travel with you
Yeah.
sometimes as well, and we obviously we have a lot of conversations. But it's been very very nice for me to be able to have a platform with you like this, and I hope you feel the same. Is there anything you want to say before you go? And thank you so much again, Brian.
Yeah, just Chaos Fight Championships, 23rd of November. It will be available on stream. There may be a few tickets available at the door. Definitely check it out. It's amazing. The Derry crowd is something to behold. It's a 1,000-seater stadium. Also, anybody who wants to kind of follow in the footsteps. There will be another alpha project, I think, maybe starting to run early next year. The fights, I think, maybe in Oma and Virtus, but I'm not sure if what gyms are doing it. Maybe the same gyms again. If you've ever had a thought or an inkling about what it's like, come on, you're not going to be thrown to the wolves. You're going to be put in there with somebody who's training the same length of time as you, similarly matched, and just go on and enjoy it and have a good time. I think everybody should try something that makes them uncomfortable once in their life.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I can't wait to see you this weekend. It's going to be a
Yeah.
pleasure to see this fight and being a part of it as well. So I want to
Thank you very much.
thank you for coming on, and I will see you on Saturday.
See you on Saturday. Thank you.